In this video, I want to address some issues with grading in this course and discuss how this affects student access and progress. So first of all, the Blackboard basics. Because this course is based on weighted averages, you really must keep on top of recording zeros for all assignments in the course soon after their due dates. This includes MindTap homework assignments. What I do is go to the course the morning after it's due and come over here and click on the top of everything that is part of the module that's due and just record zeros for the people who haven't done stuff. And I do this all the way across like so. And go on. And here's a MindTap assignment. And now there are zeros in there. And then here's the module review. Now there's some assignments that you can grade prior to the actual listed due dates, and you can kind of see that I've done that here. I have the writing process essay itself. As soon as that comes in, you can actually go ahead and grade that. The same thing with module reviews. Those are going to be fine to grade. The only thing that and revision plans are another thing that you can grade ahead of time as soon as it falls into the slot. One thing that you can't do though is grade the discussion boards early. You really have to wait until the due date so that you can see, because it's being graded on two things: the posts that they make at the end of every lesson and at the beginning of each module, and then their interaction with their classmates, and you can see that in their rubric. As long as they've done the responses to all the lessons with at least a college paragraph, and they've made responses to at least 3 classmates at some point during the module, you can go ahead and give them the proficient rating that's shown in the rubric. Exemplary ratings, in my opinion, should be reserved for longer, very thoughtful posts and active, thoughtful interactions in the comments. And you can read the Blackboard rubric descriptions to see what you're grading by. I'm going to go ahead and go and do one of these right now. I'll pick a student, grade the user activity, so you can see a little bit how that works. So she's got these things here. These look pretty reasonable for me for check-ins. And then she's also got at least the 3 things that she needed to do for other people. And she's actually got way more than that. So I would actually give her exemplary on her interaction with classmates. It really depends on the course. I think because this one is so short, I would probably give her exemplary for both. If you want to see the descriptions, you can basically click right here and see how it's described, and you can decide for yourself how that works. I think in a longer course module, I might want more on these than this for paragraphs. But you can click those 2 things. You know how to grade discussion boards, save the rubric, and go on. If they're not getting full credit, especially if they're getting less than, I usually explain why there's a problem there. Now, what if a student tells you that they had a technical issue or just forgot to submit their MindTap homework? If you want to, you can choose to process these really easily. Let me go back to the Grade Center and show you that. So basically, let me back up here a little bit. For somebody who's got a 0 in, say, subject-verb agreement, that's one of the ones. If I want to look at that and say he's told me that he's done this, I'm pretty sure he hasn't, you can actually click this and view the grade details. And if they've done it on the MindTap side, you will see that down here. There'll actually be a value grade listed. As you can see, he hasn't done it. If he had done it, the grade would be here. It would still be 0 up here because it's an override, and you can click revert to bring the grade over. And it's very easy. It just pops right in. So you can choose to do that if you wish, and I encourage you to do it especially early on in the course, because some of these skills may take a while for students to master. Some of this technology may be difficult at first, and because in my opinion, encouraging growth and sort of changing bad habits is better for students than just requiring absolute compliance with due dates and arbitrary dates at that. But you can hold as rigidly or as loosely to your own policies as you wish. That's what academic freedom's about. Now, you will not see that these have been done until you actually go over here. So basically, you have to ask the student and get in conversation with that student about whether or not they've done certain things. If they have, then you can go do this and look at it. But you can see that because these are override grades, even if there was something done here, I wouldn't see it until I actually went there. And that's a lot of work to do, especially in a big course. Now, for the drafts and peer mark work, let me talk about that real quick. I'm going to go over here to MindTap to the ebook, and you see that I'm in the learning path. For You should plan to grade the drafts during the same window that students are working on their peer responses. And I spend most of my feedback time here. So I come to the drafts folder, I click on the assignment and open it up. These are already graded from a little bit earlier. But I basically give extensive comments for revision, not just copy editing them to death, but asking them questions and challenging students not to give me generic advice, because I know how to write, or superficial observations, or wildly unfocused essays that don't really explore any central question. The invention activities in the course are designed to generate a lot of ideas, but in the end, students need to pick something to focus on. The essay itself works best when students pick something that they fear, or something that puzzles them about their process, or something about their beliefs or writing that they want to change, and then they use their writing to explore this one issue. I do remark on usage and formatting problems, but I don't spend tons of time on that. There are a lot of reference links and tutors to help with that kind of thing, and to me, the sooner that students learn about these and start using them, the better off and the more independent they're going to be in future classes. Now, when you get in here to grade mark, you'll see pencils. All of these guys got hundreds for their stuff. I'm going to open one up really quickly and just show you the three things. So you can click anywhere on the page to leave a comment. You can use these drag and drop comments to bring things over that are sort of commonly used. The text box down here at the bottom is where I give my extensive feedback. And then this is where you look at the rubric. It's the last thing over. And if there's no rubric attached, you can click on this and find it. It says draft submission rubric 2 because this is an earlier thing, but really it should be showing 2016 draft rubric. These are exactly the same actually. So you should look at that and attach it if it's not there, and you can do that by selecting it and then clicking on this thing here. This at the moment there's something attached. If there weren't, it would attach it, and then you can just close it. And you can also get me to help you with that if you'd like. And then if you want to see the rubric and the wording, you can click on this thing to open it up, and it will get you a new box and it will actually show you what's in there. Basically for this one, half the grade is did they turn it in on time. There's really not a late submission usually with these, but sometimes I'll work with students about that. Is it correctly formatted as a Word document? For me, that means it's at least double spaced and it has some attempt at a header. I'm not as worried about page numbering and stuff early on as I am later. And then does it have a writer's memo? So for the rubric itself, that's what you're looking at. And actually I should drag it over so you can see on time, format, and writer's memo. So I'm going to close this, and then you just apply the rubric percentage to the grade. You can also, once you know these, just scroll down. The draft rubrics are always going to be the same. Let's see what else. Now, until you finished the drafts and clicked on release the grades for the whole thing, students in Module 4, 8, and 12 will not be able to access your comments, obviously, but also their peer feedback. So that's why it's important to work on the draft grades while they're doing their peer responses. And then the good news is that you really, for the final papers, you don't need to have extensive comments at all. You just grade using the rubric that's in Blackboard. I'm going to come back over here now. I've got a few students who have this paper, the writing process paper, and I'll just grab one here. Looks like he's done 2 attempts. I'll grab the second one. Now for this one, you should be aware that Safe Assign flags different things than the Insight product does. So you may catch some, especially submissions from other students. You will catch it here and you will not catch it probably in Insight. You can see he doesn't have a problem with that. I'm going to come in here, and the writing process essay rubric is this one. It should always be attached. If you want to see what these the descriptions are, just click show descriptions, and that'll give you an idea of what. I generally say exemplary is kind of the A+ range, distinguished is pretty much an A, proficient is a B, competent is a C, and so on. And you can look and see at how much those are coming up as. One thing also to be aware of with a Safe Assign is that really don't click for either one. Click on the report and actually look at what's flagging. Don't just take the number at face value, and don't automatically penalize for plagiarism for percentages that are over an arbitrary number, because short essays with verbatim text might well go over 25% and still be reasonably cited and be using the text in a reasonable way. And likewise, information that's in a student's own words but is obviously from sources but doesn't have any attribution, that's also plagiarism, and you should point it out as such, especially at the draft stage. This gives them time to revise for the final paper. I often work with students to do a second revision at the final stage, even if problems crop up there, to reinforce that teachable moment. Coming back in here, let me talk now about the peer marks assignments. For peer mark, you shouldn't have to do anything but pull the grades over, but sometimes they don't flow over as they should. If this happens, give it a few days, maybe contact Cengage and have them manually pull the grades over and see if that works. If it doesn't, you can key in the grades manually like this. I'm going to come into the peer mark writing process thing here and open this up and see what I have. And we can see that these students have pretty much everybody's done except for this one student. He's got 1 out of 4. I can click on that and see if he's done anything at all. Really, he didn't. He opened it maybe and started one, but he never actually submitted anything, so it doesn't even show up. So he doesn't get any credit for this. What I do at this point is just have the, let me get back into it. Have this open on one screen. Have your grades open on another screen. Let me go back to that real quick. I've actually given this a little bit longer than 24 hours. But if we look in the module 3 back here, you can see the peer mark assignment. There's nothing there, not even zeros. So I'm going to need to key these in manually. So I basically look for Brianna, and she got 100%. I'm just going to key it in. Submit a tech support ticket for this, and we'll try to get these figured out. Another thing that you can do if students are telling you that, well, let me go back for it. You can key in the grades manually. You can also look at partial completions and assign grades based on effort, and adjust grades based on effort. Another thing that you can do is excuse grades in the event of a legitimate technical issue. And the way that you would do that is just click the down arrow. You can see the exempt grade. It'll put a little gray dot in here. Now this is not counting for or against them. I'm going to revert this, or actually clear the exemption, or remove the exemption. I can do it there. And I'll grade the rest of these later. You can also go in here if students are not sure that they've gotten any reviews. You can come and look here and you can see the reviews that they got. You can click on them, see who did them. You don't want to click here on the blue boxes. Those oh, actually you do now. Earlier on in the time, if you have these blue boxes, what it's going to do is ask you to actually create a review, and you don't need to do that. You can just click on the person and see the review in that way. So you can see what kinds of things they got. If you get anybody who is telling you, let me pull this over a little bit where you can see it, that they got a bad review, or they got a review that was inappropriate or just not very helpful, you can look in here and you can adjust grades down too if you feel like they may have got the words at the right word count, but they haven't really done what they needed to do as far as doing the peer responses. So that's how you troubleshoot that. Now, if you've released the drafts and students say they can't access something, another thing that you can do in here is look at the peer response grade release date in PeerMark. To do that, you're going to have to go to a different view instead of the dates view here. Go to this view, which are the folders, open the peer response folder, click on this pencil, and you can view options. You can't edit assignment options. The only thing you can really edit here at this point is releasing the date. Continue. Look and see what's set up here. You can see the feedback release date, and you can just click on it to change it. This was released on the 15th. If you click on the date, you can also check the time and click on that. I'm going to leave it alone because this one was fine. And then save when you get done. Now, if you have any other weird issues, please let me know, Sharon Down, or contact Sally Kirscher at Cengage. Her email is sally.kirscher@cengage.com. She can log in as a particular student in your class and see what that student is seeing. So make sure students are using Chrome for all of their work, especially drafts and peer marks, and you really should be using Chrome as well. I hope this has been helpful, and please don't hesitate to reach out to me with questions. Thanks very much.